2025. This is the reason why all hands are on deck to help organizations and individuals mitigate cyber crimes. And this is the reason why you are here. On this note, I would love to welcome every one of you to another edition of the Tuesday Tech Security webinar. Last week, we had the honor of listening to a veteran network security areas Ha-Shem Limited and took us through how we can made applications and server using solar. If you missed that session, as a matter of fact, I love you all our channel to watch all the previous editions of our webinar series. And this to what to apply to what to expect this to be to get our quick mobile device and app management Microsoft Intune. Why is this so important? Not all organizations can afford to give protected devices to this staff. An alternative, workers use their own personal devices for work purposes. The practice is what we refer to as BYOD, meaning bring your own device. It should be a reasonable alternative, but it comes with a large review device not protected. You become vulnerable to cyber attacks. The big pleasure see engineer at Ha-Shem Limited, Madam Opeoluwa Enos, will be discussing the topic, teach us ways to secure our business information with Microsoft Intune. Just before I hand over to let's just a few housekeeping rules to help us have a better experience. First of all, please kindly mute your mic as you are joining this webinar. So, if you have any question, please want to send your comment chat box, and if you desire to speak, you can just raise your hand up after the end of the section for you to. Also, I will be sending an evaluation form just before we end this webinar. Please kindly provide us your feedback through this form. We would love to get better for you. And lastly, please follow us on all social media platforms. I will send it just before we end this webinar. And please, I will create the please follow us. So now over to Opeoluwa.
Thank you very much, Smart. Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Opeoluwa Enos. I'm a cloud security engineer at Ha-Shem Limited. So I specialize in various security products. So I'm welcoming you once again to this session, and I hope you have a lovely time. So today I'll be talking about mobile device management and mobile application management with Microsoft Intune. I know most of us can agree that during this pandemic, we're mostly using our personal devices to access companies' resources. And that has proven as one of the major concerns of an organization. When users access their resources on unprotected devices, they are prone to attack and data loss. I also know that most of us feels it is more convenient to use our personal device because of lack of restrictions on them. Nobody wants any restrictions, so they prefer their personal device that doesn't have anything blocking them. Various people work from home, they work from cafes, they work from customer sites, they work on the road, in the air. They can work just about anywhere in the world at any time. And of course, we also know that users don't only access companies' data, but they share this data to their colleagues, to customers, to whoever they are collaborating with. And when they are sharing this, there's no protection on the data. So anybody can intercept this transaction and then get the company's information, and the company will lose their data and at the same time pay a certain amount of ransom to either get their data or it even gets lost. So from these statistics, we can see that 66% of employees uses more than one devices to access their company's data. Some use their iPads, some use their phones, their Android phones, some use their iOS, their Google phones, anyone that suits them, they use it to access the company's data. Some might even use multiple, not just one device, they use multiple devices. And 25% of all softwares were available on SaaS delivery last year, and the number would have increased by this year. And lastly, 33% of employees prefer working from home, especially the developers. Let me say the developers. A lot of us like to work from home. We feel like we are more productive working from home than working in the office. We feel like we're going to perform more at home than in the office. And the most important thing for organization is to ensure users' productivity, simplicity, and also to make sure that the organization's data is protected. So how do they achieve this? How do they keep their data secure from getting into the wrong hands? Microsoft has provided a solution called Microsoft Intune that will help us achieve this. Some of us might be wondering what Microsoft Intune is. It's not a complicated solution. It's actually a very easy to use solution. And for some of us that are already familiar with System Center Configuration Management, that is now called Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, Intune will be like easy. It will be very, very easy for you to administer. So what does Intune do? What is Microsoft Intune? Microsoft Intune simply is a cloud-based solution that allows organizations manage, protect their corporate information on mobile devices and mobile applications, and also promote user productivity. We want to be able to make life easier for our users by allowing them to use any device of their choice to access companies' data, and at the same time manage access and limit what they can do with the information. So there are two various components. There are two main components of Intune. We have the mobile device. Okay, sorry. What is driving change? Users are accessing companies' data from various devices, from various applications, and the IT is worried, what can they do about this? What can they implement? So the IT will implement Microsoft Intune. There are two major components of Microsoft Intune, the mobile device management and the mobile application management. So from the name, you should know what exactly they do. The mobile device management manages the entire device. So yeah, it allows you to secure and manage company-owned devices. Mobile device management is for company-owned devices. I want you to take note of that. It allows you to have total control of the devices by creating and deploying configuration policies like Wi-Fi profiles, email profiles, different policies. So you can even initiate a full wipe on this device because it's company owned. It's not owned by the user. Now, the second component is called the mobile application management. Mobile application management is for only the personally owned device. So users' devices, the users' devices that are personally owned, their own personal device, Intune manages only the company's application, the corporate application and data on that application. So policies are set before you can access the corporate application and the corporate data with mobile application management. So I want you to look at the screen. You can see from the screen the difference between MDM and MEM. Like I said, MDM, device management, allows you to manage the entire phone. There is nothing that it doesn't manage. Everything in the phone takes total control of the phone. You can see here by the blue ribbon surrounding the phone. While the MAM, the mobile application management, only manages corporate application. You can see that it has segmented the personal application from the corporate application. So what Intune does is that it puts the corporate application inside a briefcase, inside a container, carrying a briefcase icon, telling you that this is for work. While the other applications, which they are not managed, the personal applications remain without an icon, a briefcase icon. So that is how Intune is very, very intelligent. It is able to separate and segment both of them. So the users know which is being managed by the organization and which one is not being managed by the organization. So when users no longer want to use a device for work, they can easily remove it by using the Intune console, which is the web portal for users. So for example, if a device has been lost or stolen, the user can remove it by themselves. So the users can access this if they have an application called the Intune company portal. So the Intune company, for every application, there must be an agent that manages that is used to manage users, have access to users' devices. So Intune has such application called the company portal. So the company portal is like what the middleman that connects your phone or your device to the Intune portal. So before Intune can manage your device, it needs to have Intune company portal on it. So once you download the Intune company portal, Intune will have total control if it is a company-owned device. And if it's not a company-owned device, if it's your user personal device, personally owned device, it will only have access to the application. You can also see the types of policies you can create on Intune MDM and MAM. So for the MDM, which is mobile device management, you can create device policies, you can create device inventories, device wipe, app push, and device configuration policies like VP. Sorry, my internet was misbehaving. Okay, so you can create profiles, device configuration profiles like certificates, VPN. Another interesting thing you can do with Intune is create group policy. So you are not just limited to using your Active Directory group policy. You can create group policies on Intune. So you want to stop specific users from being able to control their control panel settings. You don't want them to see applications on the start menu, things like that. You don't want them to access a specific URL on Microsoft Edge, things like that. You can set it with Intune. So for the Intune application MAM, the Intune management, mobile application management, you can set application policies that are only for the application, app access, data transfer, data protection, app wipe, app configuration, and app self-service with Microsoft Intune. So let's talk about the features of Microsoft Intune. We have the profile management. So with Intune, you can create various configuration profiles. Like I said before, the Wi-Fi profiles, the VPN profiles, certificate profiles. So what these profiles do, for some of us that might not be aware of what they do, they create a ready-made like configuration that you send to the device. You want this device to be able to connect to this specific VPN. That's what you call the VPN profile. You want it to be able to connect to this specific Wi-Fi, including the Wi-Fi configuration. You will have set it on the Intune and then you deploy to the user. Immediately they sign in with their username and password. They have access to this particular Wi-Fi. So instead of coming straight to the user's device and saying, please can I set up your Wi-Fi, please can I this, please can I that, you can set it up from Microsoft Intune. So these profiles allow you to define specific settings you want your users that have been assigned company-owned devices to have. So this profile management is mostly for mobile device management. So we have the compliance and the conditional access. So I'll be talking more about conditional access in the slide to come. Intune allows you to configure policies that your user devices must meet before they are considered compliant. And some of these policies, maybe they must have TPM configured, they must have BitLocker configured, things like that. If they don't have it configured, their device is never going to meet compliance. So it's going to mark it as non-compliant. So if they don't meet this compliance, like I said, it's going to mark it as non-compliant. Now we have the email management. So this email management makes life easier for admins that like to come to users' devices and set up their email. So instead of doing that with email management, Intune allows you to create email configuration profiles that automatically creates on the user's device once he enrolls. So these email profiles contain the email server of the organization and the organization name. It also contains the frequency at which you want mails to be synchronized, things that have been set from the Intune portal. It contains the authentication method you want your users to use before they get authenticated. So for instance, they want to use certificates or they want to use their username and password. So in creating email profiles help reduce support calls from end users who do not know how to configure their email settings or do not have the right email settings. So it can be very, very stressful for IT admin. But Intune makes life easier for them, not just for the user, but also the IT admin. Intune allows you to have a centralized control portal. So instead of managing, there are some applications or there are some solutions, let me not say applications, some MDM, MEM solutions that say that you must have separate portals before you can manage applications, before you can manage devices, before you can manage updates, things like that can be very stressful also. So with Intune, you have a centralized control panel. It's a console where you can manage application on the same page, devices, updates. You can manage them from a single console instead of going to one website, going to another website to do that. Intune gives you a centralized control portal. So it can be quite hectic for your users to call about a problem that you can't physically see or attend to physically, especially during this pandemic period. Even when we are at our offices, we might be, because we have had a lot of work to do as IT admins, we have been moving from one seat to another. We want to rest. So now a user is calling us. We don't want to go to that user's computer or user's device to be helping them because we're trying to rest. So with Intune, you can do what is called remote troubleshooting. So you don't have to worry about that. It gives you the ability to administer devices remotely. You can restart devices, you can reset passcode, you can locate lost or stolen device, initiate a device reset, and more. And then again, for you to those are minimal remote troubleshooting functions. But if you want to go to the advanced where you will remote to the user, you will be able to immediately have access to the user's machine, something like AnyDesk or TeamViewer. You need to have purchased TeamViewer Enterprise, the TeamViewer for Business, where you integrate it with Intune before you can remotely administer these devices. Let me come again so that you don't mix it up. You can do little or minimal remote troubleshooting by restarting devices, resetting their passcode, locate lost or stolen devices, things like that. They are very minimal. But if you want to go the advanced way whereby you get access to the device and you are clicking on it, you are doing things that you be able to see, to be able to say what exactly is the problem with their device. So you need to purchase the team viewer for business in order to be able to do that. So we have the asset management that allows you to view, manage device basic hardware configuration. We have the security. We have the security management. Okay, so for the asset management, you can see applications that are not, you can see devices that are not compliant. You can see things like that. You can see devices that are not compliant, that are compliant, applications that have been approved by the organization, the ones that have not been approved. You can see such information with Intune. We also have the security management, whereby you configure policies on Intune that require users to set a passcode like a PIN, like an app lock. So for some of us that have our mobile devices, we put for iOS, we put a passcode. For Android, we put a password or a PIN before we can access our applications to further protect our application. So Intune makes sure the user sets a passcode or an app lock on the application, the company's application, before they can proceed to access the application, because we cannot trust anyone. Most of us might not have what they call it. We might not have a password on our device. And when we don't have a password on our device, we can just leave it open, leave thinking that everybody is trustworthy. We leave our device open, forget to close it. And then someone gets hold of our device. Person might not be in our organization, someone outside the organization, I've gotten hold of this device. And the next thing, they start getting access to the company's information. We want to avoid that. So Intune provides security. You must set a passcode before you can do anything. We have the audits and reports. So Intune allows you to monitor the health and the activities of each devices that have been enrolled in your organization. And lastly, it allows you to manage Windows updates on company-owned devices without them connecting to the organization's network. So, for especially this pandemic period, most of organizations might have been using on-premise solutions to deploy updates, but now we couldn't predict what happened with the pandemic. The pandemic came and users' devices are not patched, and then that is like they are not protected. So they are prone to different malwares and attacks. And there's no solution that is helping them to deploy it, because every solution is on-prem. So Intune allows you to manage it, because the cloud solution, you can deploy and manage updates from anywhere, and the users will get it without being connected to the organization's network. So let's talk about conditional access. What conditional access does is a very easy concept. Conditional access allows you to set conditions that users must meet before they can have access to the company's information. So conditions like, for instance, the user must belong to a specific group. The user must be either domain joined, or must be either hybrid domain joined. It must be managed. User's device must be compliant. Then you now want a specific platform type to have access, like Windows, iOS, or Android. Maybe you don't want iOS to have access to the company information, you block it. So you either allow or you block. And when you allow, you enforce MFA, because there's no such thing as too much security. So you don't just allow and leave it like that. You enforce MFA, so that MFA is going to prompt them the second time to prove that they are who they say they are. So it's going to send them a code that they need to put after putting their password. So that's how conditional access works. You must meet certain conditions. You must be part of a certain group. You must be compliant. You must be domain joined, things like that. You must be in a specific location before the IT admin can allow you to access the company's information. So let's talk about Windows information protection. So Windows information protection helps in identifying and marking corporate data from users' personal device residing locally on the device. So data which is identified as corporate data is then protected. It also helps to manage applications on devices which works with those data to prevent accidental leakage of the data. So people often mistake Windows information protection with Azure information protection. They are totally two different things. Windows information protection is protecting your data. It's protecting the Windows. It's like creating app protection policy, protecting the applications that are running on your Windows device. So it is for Windows 10 only. While Azure information protection is protecting what they call the documents. So that is just for documents. We have a feature of Intune called the wipe and retire. So I know most of organizations wonder what happens to our data when users leave the organization. What happens to it? With Intune, with the feature called wipe/retire, you can initiate a wipe immediately the user leaves the organization. Then it wipes off all the company's data, all the information concerning the company, corporate organization off the user's device. So they cannot see it, they cannot access it. They are blocked from accessing the company's information. So that is how wipe and retire works. So there's the wipe for MDM, which does for MDM, mobile device management, which does a total wipe. That is like maybe you want to do factory reset. That's what it is. That is how it is. Factory reset. It will wipe the entire device. Then the one for MAM wipes only the application. And then we have the retire. The retire retires the device, meaning it removes company portal, removes every single app from the device. It just doesn't wipe only the data, but removes the app itself from the user's machine. So that is how the wipe and retire feature works. So we have the benefits. We have some benefits of Microsoft Intune that I'll be discussing. We have Microsoft Intune allows you to manage both company devices and personal devices. So it's not just limited to only one part, but allows users to be productive and happy at the same time. Intune also protects devices running operating systems like iOS, Android, Mac OS, Windows OS. So it's not just limited to one type of OS. You can manage various OS with Microsoft Intune. And you can integrate, for those of us that are currently using System Center Configuration Manager, you can integrate Intune with System Center Configuration Manager. And also, let me explain System Center Configuration Manager, which is a tool that allows you to deploy, manage applications, software updates, some policies, scripts, things like that. Is a very wide tool. So if you integrate it with Intune, you are doing something called co-management. Co-management makes life easier for the Intune System Center admin and Intune admin, because it splits the work between the Microsoft Intune and System Center. So one can be managing the updates, the other can be managing application deployment, things like that. So if you want to integrate them, it gives you that option of integrating the both of them. So I'll be diving right into the demo. I'll be showing you how to create some policies. I'll be showing you what it looks like at the user side. So please give me a minute. Let me reshare my screen. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Intune portal, the management center. It's called, before you can access it, you need to go to endpoint.microsoft.com. So Intune is available as a standalone offer, or you can get it with the Microsoft 365 E3 and E5 plan, or EMS E3 and E5 plan. So we type endpoint.microsoft.com, and then we enter our admin username and password, and then we go to devices. So I'm going to be showing you how to create compliance policies for devices. So we come to under devices, compliance policy, click on create policy. We select which particular device we're creating the compliance policies for. Like I said, for those of us that might not remember what I said about compliance policies are created for users to meet a certain requirements before they can enroll their device. So they need to meet certain requirements before their device is marked as compliant. So let's select Windows 10 and later, and we click on create and give it a name, Windows 10 compliance policy. Now, these are the various policies. Like I said, you want to require BitLocker, do you want secure boot to be enabled? So if your users are all their devices, secure boot is enabled, you select it. If not, not configured. Require code integrity, depending on what you want to select. You can put the minimum OS version 10.0, the maximum OS version. If it's not compulsory, all the settings are not compulsory. The maximum, the minimum OS version for mobile devices. If it's a Windows mobile device, you can set it here. Maximum OS version for mobile devices. You can also select the specific build. You can put it here that you want to allow to be compliant, to meet the compliance settings. So if you have co-management, this is when you select this option. So do you want to require device compliance from configuration manager? That's SCCM. So if your devices are compliant from SCCM, it should mark as compliant. If not, if you don't have SCCM, you leave it as not configured. I don't have SCCM currently, so I leave it like that. You want to require a password to unlock mobile devices. So this is the settings for mobile devices. You want to put simple password, the type of password, the minimum password length, maximum minutes of inactivity, things like that, the expiration date for those of us that want a specific expiration date before it re-enrolls it checks the device to check for compliance. So after the password expires, okay, let me just put in number. When the password expires, it asks the user to put in a new password. Then it checks to see if the user is compliant. Do you want to require encryption of the data storage on the device? So if encryption is not enabled, then it should not mark it as compliant. If it is enabled, it should mark it. For those of us that have encryption on our devices, so I can leave it as not configured. You can select firewall or TPM, antivirus, things like that, depending on what your organization wants. You can also select, if you have Microsoft Defender for Endpoints configured, you can also select this option, but I don't have that currently. So what action do you want to set for non-compliance? So mark device non-compliance immediately. Days after, immediately, that's immediately. Once it doesn't meet the compliance settings or requirements, you should mark it immediately. You shouldn't give it a specific date. Then you assign it to a specific user. So in Intune policies, you can't assign to one particular user. The user must be part of a specific group. So it's only group you can assign to, or you select all users. And some policies allow you to select devices. So I've created a group called EMS with some of my users. And then click on next and create. So that's how you create compliance policies. So any device that has been enrolled, you start checking it to see if this device is compliant or not, as long as it has been deployed to that specific device. So that is the compliance policy. I'm going to be showing you how to create application protection policies. So you come to apps and click on app protection policies and create application protection policies depending on who you want to create application protection policies for. But since I mentioned WIP, which is the Windows Information Protection Policy, I'll be showing you how to create that specifically. So we give it a name, Windows 10 Information Policy. It doesn't have to be long like this. Enrollment state, with or without enrollment. So if the device that is device that is accessing the company information hasn't been enrolled, you can select the without enrollment and the policy will still take place. So if the device is enrolled, you say with enrollment. So it will take place with or without enrollment, depending on what you want. So with enrollment, you select the protected apps. So once you select protected apps, so protected apps, applications that are being protected by Intune. So anything outside this protected app. So for instance, if I select Edge and I don't select OneDrive, I can't copy company's information from Edge to OneDrive because OneDrive is not managed. So that's how it works. Anything outside this managed application, you cannot copy company's information, so it's going to flag it. So I'm going to select OneNote, Mail, depending on what you want. Office 365 Pro Plus, okay. Next. So there's a block, there's the allow, override, and silence. So the block blocks every single thing, just as the name implies. So it's going to block when it detects that there is any maybe transfer to an unmanaged app or an app that is not managed by the company or anything that is not corporate owned. It's going to block it. I'll be showing you from the user side. We have allow override. So what this option does is that the user will be given the option to override the policy. So if it's saying that it cannot copy, and it will give the user the option of override, and then the user will be able to copy. So that is how it works. Then silent will just be doing monitoring. All it does is just monitoring and doesn't do anything, doesn't block anything, doesn't allow override, just silently monitors users' transfer of files and all that. Then off means that it's not working. So we're going to put block. It automatically picks your domain name. It picks it up immediately. So mine is grayng.onmicrosoft.com. It picks it. And here is the place where you set the policies. So if you have proxy servers that want to allow your users to be allowed So if they are connecting from a specific proxy server, they should be able to copy and paste users, corporate information, things like that. So if you have a specific proxy server or IP range, you select, I don't have one. Then you can prevent corporate data from being accessed by the apps when the device is locked. So corporate data will not be able to be accessed by the app. It will be locked as soon as the device is locked too. So you can put it on as if you are deploying to Windows 10 mobile. It only applies to Windows 10 mobile. So if there's encryption enabled, you want to revoke encryption keys on a row, you can select it. This is actually selected by default. You want to show the enterprise data protection icon. I'll be showing you that in the user side. Yes, want to show it. Do you currently use Azure RMS? So if you have that, then you select this option and then click on next. You deploy to the specific group. I've already created one previously, so I don't want to deploy to the same group so it will not cause conflict. So I click on next. It will still create even if you don't assign to anyone. You can come back later and assign it to whoever you want to assign it to. So that's how to create application protection policies. Then lastly, I'll be showing you how to create conditional access policies, and then I'll move on to the user side. So you see how it looks from the user side. So devices, you come to devices, you come to conditional access. You can also create conditional access if you go to portal.azure.com. It's still the same conditional access policy you see there, but you can access it also on the endpoint of Microsoft.com on the Intune portal. So you click on new policy and give it a name, device compliance policy. Select the particular user you want to deploy this to. So let me say my EMS group. I want to deploy it to this EMS group. You want to protect that, you want to select all cloud apps or select specific applications that you want to protect. So let me tell you the purpose of this conditional access. So you need to know what exactly you want to achieve before you create a conditional access policy. So now I want to show you, I want to block users from accessing Outlook application. So they must access the OA. They must access it from the browser. They should not access it from the desktop or mobile application. So I'm going to search for Exchange. Yeah, so I click on this. But if it is not just Exchange I want to do that, it should not accept users to sign in or access any desktop application or mobile application. Then you select the Office 365. So even Word, Access, Project, any Office 365 application, it will be accessing it from the web. It won't access it from the desktop or mobile app. So now I just want to limit it to OA, to Exchange. So once I select this, I select the condition. If you have user risk that you want to select, you can select it. Sign in risk, you select it. Device platform, I don't have user risk and sign in risk configured. You select the device platform that you want to give access to this conditional policy. So I really want to set it for Windows devices. If I have a specific location, trusted location that I've set, I click on this and then I select client app. This is where I select whether I want users to use the desktop or mobile app or the browser. So what I'm going to do is select this. I'm sorry, yes. and leave the browser. Select the mobile app, Exchange at other clients. So none of them is going to be able to access the corporate information unless they use the browser. They'll not be able to send mails or receive mails on Outlook unless they use the browser or any other client application. And I come here and say block access and click on select and enable the policy and click on create. That's how we create device compliance policy. Time doesn't permit me to show you how to create applications and all that, but I would really love to show you from the user side. So that's what I'm going to show you. This is my virtual machine. Okay. And I have a user called Diego Sicily signed in. You can see the icon that I was talking about on Windows Information Protection. Allow the icon to show. This is the icon, the briefcase icon, showing that it is protected. So it is only going to appear on protected applications. So because Teams is part of the protected application, it appears. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm chatting with Alex Wilbur now. I said, hello, Alex. Now I can select this hello, Alex, and click on copy. Now I want to paste it on WordPad. WordPad is not managed on Intune. So just watch as I paste it. Can't use work content yet. Your organization doesn't allow you to use work content here. So click on learn more to know the reason why the organization doesn't allow this. So you click on OK. Now, if I want to copy and paste the same hello Alex on Notepad, which is being managed, I selected it as the manage app. You can see hello Alex, and you can see the icon here. I can successfully paste hello Alex on the managed app. Now, for instance, I open a Word document, and okay, let me just open a new one. So I open a Word document because Word is also protected, and I type something. I am happy. Now I want to save this I am happy. Just watch what's going to happen. So I click on save and browse. You can see that there's an icon showing work, and it shows your organization, and there's personal here. So if you are saving it as personal, it's going to just be normal. Anyone can access it. If you are saving it as work, you can see this one I've already saved, the FJS saved here. It's carrying a briefcase icon. So for instance, now if I give this one, I am happy, and I go to my documents. Okay, supposed to carry the it's still taking time, but just like the what's the name, the FJSH is it's going to turn to a briefcase icon, and it's going to tell you that it's owned by your organization. So for instance, if your organization is fish.com, it's going to put fish.com here. So that's how it works. Now I'm going to show you what if the user wants to upload this particular information. You want to upload this file to someone that, or to maybe Gmail or Yahoo or their normal Outlook, their personal Outlook. Is not going to allow them because they don't belong to the organization. It doesn't carry the organization's ID that has already been registered. So now this is a Gmail user. So I want to create or compose a mail. I click on this. Maybe I want to send it to outlook.com. Give it a subject, fish, and then I want to upload that corporate document. So this is the corporate document, the FJSH. So if I click on this, your organization doesn't allow you to use work content here. So you are not able to upload or send the document as far as it belongs to the organization, as far as Windows Information Protection is protecting it. You can't do anything to the document. And for instance, now if you remove if you unenroll the device, now if you unenroll this device and the policy is no longer applying to the user, you won't be able to access this document. Maybe if you are not signing in, maybe you want to copy the document now, for instance, you want to copy it to a flash, you won't be able to access it. It won't allow you. It's not going to allow you to do that. So that is how Windows Information Protection works. Now I'm also going to show you how there are two major ways you can enroll your devices to Intune. So you either download the company portal or you come here, your settings, and go to access work or school. Now, because I've already enrolled this device, if I were to disconnect it, it's going to show something by the right here showing enroll this device, enroll only to MDM. So if you click on it, it will enroll your device successfully and you see it on the Intune portal. That was what I did first. But if you don't want to go through that method, you go to your Windows Store app. You go to your Windows Store app. I guess it's internet that is making it to load continuously. Okay, that's finished loading. And you search for company portal, which is the client that you use to access Intune. So, sorry. Sorry. No. Company portal. Okay, you can see here. And you click on install, then launch. The process to enroll is very simple. All you need to do is sign in. That's for Windows device, but for Android and iOS, you still need to accept some things before you can have access to the company's information. But for Windows device, you just need to put your username and password, and it enrolls you. That's how it works. So another thing that you're going to notice is that if company portal, maybe for instance, if you as the IT admin, you should not set a Windows Information Protection policy before users have enrolled their, what's the name? They have enrolled their device using company portal. Because if company portal is not enabled, if it's not installed on the device, and maybe the user wants to install it and enroll their device, it's going to flag and tell you that you cannot do this because it's not a managed app, because Windows Information Protection is taking place. So one thing you can use to solve that is to either add the company portal as a protected application, or you don't deploy Windows Information Protection until the users have installed company portal app in your organization. So company portal app is the first step to go. You have to first use it and enroll your users' devices before you can proceed. So that will be the end of my demo and the end of my session. Thank you very much. I hope you had a very wonderful time today listening. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you so much. Please, can you please confirm that you can hear me very well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I would like to apologize for my opening remark. I was told that my introduction was mad by the network, so I'm so very sorry. But beyond that, you agree with me that our speaker has done much justification to this topic, and then definitely I would implore you to leverage on the solution to keep your organization safe. If you have any question, please, this is the time for you to ask.
You can either raise up your hand or make use of the chat box. All right, while we are sitting on the question, let me tell you that if you have any inquiries about Microsoft Intune or you want to get this solution, you can always contact us as sales@hashem.com. Okay. Do we have a question coming? Yeah, I'm trying to keep my eye on the chat box to see if there's any question, but it seems as if no question is coming. Do we have any question? Okay. Since there's no question, I think we'll be bringing this session to an end. It has been an enjoyable one and very insightful. I hope we can put to practice everything we've learned, and we can, if you don't have the solution yet, you can quickly reach out to us so that we can get you started with this solution. But before we end this, I would love to remind you that we still have another one, at least for this Thursday. This is our Thursday Tech Talk webinar. And then we'll be discussing advanced data visualization with Power BI. Myself and Abiodun Akinfemiwa will be here on this Thursday. So please do register for that one and join us thus by 4 o'clock on Thursday. I hope to see you there. So please enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much, Madam Opeoluwa. Thank you so much for a wonderful time. And thank you so much, everybody, for making out time out of your busy schedule to be here. Thank you very much.